could I have everybody's attention, please? We're ready to go. All right, I'd like to call the April 6th Properties Committee meeting to order. We're missing 3 members, but we still have a quorum, so we can proceed. Next order of business is the approval of the March 9th, 2023 minutes. Do we have any additions, corrections, or changes? If not, we'll accept them as written. Okay. All right. All right. So moving on to 3.01, we're ready to go with Carl.
Thank you, Director. April 6th, or the Properties Committee report for the month of March. The Sports Pavilion Storage Area Rolling Gate project was completed on 3/3. The Environmental Services Maintenance Yard Entry Gate was completed. And that is phase 1 of that project on March 1st. Phase 2, the progress and the dates are to be determined. We're just finalizing the final design of that fence, and I will go out to bid for that. The Grandview Pump Station shed roof, if the weather cooperates, we will complete that roof first of next week. I have it reported here that it is done, but wind interfered with that the other day, so this report was already sent out. R.H. Johnson Energy Conservation Lighting Project, where we're converting R.H. Johnson's interior lighting. We are in the final phase of that project. We are working in the Craft Village area. This week we have completed lapidary and ceramics. Next Monday is Silvercraft. The following week is Model Railroad. And then we have a few specific dates for here in the lecture hall, and that project will be complete in May. R.H. Johnson Arc Building Masonry Storage Area project is in progress. In the R.H. Johnson lot asphalt repairs that you might have seen, we've had approximately 5 considerable irrigation pipe leaks from old piping that needed to be asphalt saw cut. That all got repaired yesterday and is complete. We'll just be doing some striping after. And that concludes my report for the month.
Any questions for Carl? Okay. Russ?
Good morning. So I am happy to report that the Kuntz Pool was closed on March 27th and 28th for the repair of the broken water line for the autofill. It was underneath the deck, so they had to be located, cut out, and repaired. That was done, and also during that same closure, we finally had the sleeves for the backstroke flags installed, with the exception of one of the 4 sleeves that landed smack dab on a skimmer box. So we decided not to install that sleeve, and we're going to go with a base instead. The base will sit on top of the deck, so that will suffice. As soon as that base comes in, the flags will go up, and my pal Paul Burrier will be very happy. And then at Palm Ridge, it's another long-awaited project. We're finishing up the repairs on the woodpecker damage, finishing the screening to prevent further damage, and painting the exterior of Palm Ridge facility. That's all I have.
I thought we had taken care of the woodpecker problem.
That will never be taken care of. It's us versus Mother Nature.
All right, thank you. I did have one question, and it was Russ or Carl. The decking for R.H. Johnson, is that still scheduled for the fall?
If the governing board approves the annual budget, then yes, that will be scheduled for sometime after July.
Okay. All right. Okay, we have an update on the RCSCW parking lot security cameras.
What did I do wrong?
Russ, you want to do that?
Yep. What? Okay. So everything that I had presented previously is in this packet. We got prices for purchasing a portable camera system and then prices for a lease system. And then we also, we fixed a current problem with just an interior mounted camera with a DVR. So we have those three options. You guys were tasked with coming up with a solution to present to the governing board. My recommendation would be to go with the 2,400-hour camera thing on top of buildings where we can. It's not going to fix all areas because of visibility and such. And then if you wanted to do a unit to try to do the lease program for a year and see how that works, but that's entirely up to you guys. The lease for 1 year was, I have that right. It's about 21,500. So that would have to be placed in a future budget if you decide to do so.
On the portable unit, how easy is it to move it?
You know, I'm not really sure. It chocks into place. It hooks up like a trailer, so I wouldn't think it'd be that difficult. I don't know how fragile it is. I would imagine the mast would have to come down to be able to relocate it. If we were to lease one, they bring it out, they deliver it and set it up. So I'd have to find out a little more on our ability to move it around because that was a key element to even wanting to go this direction. So there's still some questions that have to be asked, but based on what I see, it's fairly simple. Could be moved in an hour.
And what's its visibility? What area does one of those cameras cover? Is it more effective than the one on the building?
Oh, it absolutely would be, yes, because it's in multiple directions too,
Oh, okay.
and it's self-powered. It provides its own Wi-Fi, so it's all inclusive to itself.
All right, do we have any questions from the committee? Tom?
So if you propose to purchase cameras versus the smaller ones for the building, they're about what, $2,500?
It was 24 to do what we did up at admin. That included everything because we had no DVR available for that area, so we added the DVR, 2 cameras and installation. It was 2,400.
So the $21,000 to lease it, you could essentially do 8 units purchasing this type of a surveillance.
You could, but again, and I want to be very clear, we're limited with, even though the building ones are the cheaper way to go, we're very limited on what they can see.
Okay.
And for example, we caught the one guy, we had a report of the last catalytic converter getting stolen. Yeah, we saw the car, but we never get a good shot of his license plate because we have 2 cameras that are fixed out towards the parking lot. He came in off the side. So we never got a good shot of his license plate. I don't know if we'll get anything. What we did get is we know what he drives.
Okay.
So,
Any other questions? Well, we have to come up with a recommendation to the governing board, whether we agree to lease one of these units and try it out for a year. It would have to go to the governing board and be put into a future budget. because we're already working on the budget for next year. And so we're looking at down the road, maybe 2 years. Or we recommend that we go with the building cameras where it would be effective. One of the issues that Russ brought up is they had to trim trees in different areas to have visibility, so, yes.
I guess my question is, what's considered success with these? The catalytic converters stop getting stolen? I don't know, it just seems like an awful lot of money. And I'm not sure what is success. If we look at this and 3 or 4 years down, we look back and we want to say we want to buy something or something, like, how do we know if this has been a successful thing to do?
Well, we don't. It's a deterrent at best. That's why I was proposing doing a lease instead of a purchase, because you're not sinking a large amount of money into a device that it may not pay dividends. So at least this one we can step away from, and at least we know I came across like I was anti-camera because I wanted to make sure I got the point across that this isn't going to make the problem go away. But as it was mentioned back to me several times, we have to do something. So this was the something. Whether it would work or not, I don't know. We haven't had another report of any issues in that area. We have signs up now, but a real thief doesn't care about cameras. He doesn't care about signs. So that's a fact. So it's a tough decision you guys have to make.
Thanks, Russ.
Mm-hmm.
Carl?
Pete Finellian, general manager, saying that it could be paid for out of next year's allowances. So after July 1st, if that's the leasing route that you wanted to go.
Is the only short-term lease is a year? They don't have a 6-month or a month-by-month lease?
No, they gave me 12 months, 24 months, and 36 months. The delivery charge alone is almost $1,200 because it comes from Texas. And again, I don't know if there's any local other places. So if we decided to go with this, I shop around, so we may get a better price. Keep that in mind as well.
Jim?
First of all, do we have any record as to how many catalytic converters have been stolen?
I think there's 3 reported, 4. We'll go with 4. I think that last one that we caught on video was the 4th one. Oh, it was over 2 or 3 years worth too. 3 in the last 4 months. One victim got hit twice in a matter of a couple weeks.
Well, it seems like we're spending a lot of money chasing after a few catalytic converters that are stolen. However, if we go with this roof-mounted camera system, I think we should put some signage up that this parking lot is monitored or whatever, because just being on a roof isn't gonna.
Well, they did that.
We did already?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you.
One other that was backed into the ARC building during the day, and it was between 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock, and it was parked right at the ARC building. So, and it's approximately $3,000, I think, to replace one. So, that's on insurance or on the person who owns the car. But that seems to be pretty steep depending on the car.
Well, do we want to make a recommendation?
You know, I think that we're all pretty lukewarm on this, it looks like. It's a deterrent. I think Russ is right. It's somewhat of a deterrent. Can we just have the metal club make a pretend one? We just set it out there, like the owls that we set on top of our roofs. I guess I can go either way. I'm not so
Well,
sure
which
that
way do you
deters
want to go?
much.
Do you want to go to the lease portable one or building cameras?
I'm probably gonna push building cameras anyways. Regardless of what you guys decide, I'm just gonna start adding them in our operation budget. We're not talking a large amount of money, and the benefits that we're getting from it is, I believe it's worth it,
Okay.
so.
Have we had any other criminal activity in the parking lots besides catalytic converters?
We've had a car broken into at Kuntz. We've had golf carts stolen. So yeah, catalytic converters are not the only instance.
We did have windows broken and purses taken
That's-
up at Palm
Yeah.
Ridge.
Was
yeah.
that Palm Ridge? I'm sorry, I thought it was Kuntz. That was what I was referring to. Yeah.
Mhm. So,
I think we should, well, go ahead. I think we
Yeah.
should just go with the cameras that we have right now, right? The cameras on the building are
One
going right
camera.
now?
Yes, but it's a small section of parking lot that it covers.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, you go to Palm Ridge, cameras on the building are not gonna do any good because the parking lot's too far away. So that's something to think about. That's why I gave you guys all these options, because building cameras they just will not work everywhere.
So I think we have to make a decision whether we want to recommend going with the lease. It says here it's $23,870. If we recommend it to the governing board, it would probably be in a budget for 2 years from now, because we're already doing the next fiscal year budget.
Roberta?
Yeah.
Carl, didn't I understand you to say it would be available in this next year's budget? Or did I not hear you right?
I just got the nod that if you needed to have funds available, it could be done out of allowances in the
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought.
23, 24
All right.
budget.
Thank you.
Let me put that down. So do we want to make a recommendation to go with the lease system for 1 year as a test to see how it works over here at RH Johnson?
Roberta? I'm going to suggest that this committee recommend to the governing board that we let Russ continue to put in cameras as he sees fit, because they're not that expensive right now, and also that we lease 1 unit and have it at Palm Ridge, since he mentioned that is also an area where cameras wouldn't do the trick.
Okay. Do we have a second? All right. It's been made in second. All those in favor, go through. All right.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
pardon me for interrupting, but are you going to ask for public comment?
I usually wait till the end for the comments, but if you'd like to make a comment. Yeah, at the microphone, and please give us your name and rec card number.
Yes, Dudley Gibson, and let me just say I'm very hard of hearing, and I apologize, I haven't been able to follow all of the comments here. And I might be out of order, but I'm just wondering, I've got a couple of questions, and is it appropriate to ask now before you vote, or should I wait for public comment later? Yes, ma'am. So now, I think we need them. Short answer. Not sure what kind. I would look to Russ or the experts for that. I say we need them because I think that, as has been mentioned, it's not only catalytic converters. It's golf carts. That's kind of a serious issue. At least for me, we've got thousands of golf carts in our community. I should know, but I don't. How many golf carts we lose annually in our community, and then maybe specifically on our properties? At any rate, I think, in my opinion, if I'm running too long, please tell me. I think there's a deterrent effect to the cameras, in my opinion. That's one reason I say I think we need them in this day and age. In addition to catalytic converters and golf carts and thefts in general, I would be interested in knowing if we have a vandalism experience, a trespassing experience. We're putting up gates, I see, and that's probably a good idea. I don't know. I don't quite understand yet the cost comparison of lease versus purchase, the roof-mounted units as compared to the mobile, and whether, I think I understand Carl's comment that they could be purchased this year from operational funds. If not, I would ask if they can be purchased from reserve funds. That's kind of what the reserve funds are for. So I've got several questions that I'd like you to consider, and maybe just maybe we're a little bit premature in making a final decision at this moment.
Well,
Although
this
I think
goes
we need,
to the governing board.
I'm
And
sorry?
it's up to the governing board to make the final decision. We
I
just make
understand
a
that. I understand that.
recommendation.
I understand that.
Okay. Thank you. Karen, can you read the motion, please?
Roberta, we don't do motions here.
Well, I mean the recommendation.
Essentially, the recommendation is that,
All right. So Marshall?
Yes.
Tom? Jim? All right, so we will make this recommendation at the governing board workshop next week. Next is on space utilization. If you look at the report that Casey she gave us in usage, percentage, and alphabetical by clubs, I look at this from a utilization point of view and sort of see it as apples and oranges being mixed together, because they have table tennis and outdoor tennis together, which doesn't match. We have several clubs that aren't even listed on here because the only time they use facilities is when they have their own special events or general meetings. So I know Jack Leary's committee on chartered clubs has a club track subcommittee, And how utilization fits in with that still needs to be defined. So I believe our esteemed president of the board came up with a recommendation that chartered clubs and properties come up with some recommendations. I have appointed Kay Williams, who has lots of experience on space utilization committees, and Tom Jones, who's been around the block a few times. And to represent the Properties Committee with Jack's committee to come up with some criteria. Like I said, I think it's mixing apples with oranges and not sure it can be done, but we'll see if the club track system can be customized to meet the needs of both committees. And I'd be very surprised if that works out, but we shall see. So I appreciate the two of them volunteering for that. Do we have any questions on the utilization, on the club track data that was provided with us? We only have February. Accounting hasn't compiled the March results yet. No further questions, we'll move on. The shade structure for the ARC storage area, Tom?
You can see from the photograph of the existing storage structure that has our air compressor. You can see a shade structure over the air compressor. You can drop down to the next one, next slide. This is the proposed area we're talking about. It's already under construction, as Carl alluded to, that we would like to have a similar type shade structure in that area. One more slide. Okay. This is what we have now currently. And you have a front view and a side view, and then an overhead view, a little higher, but that gives you an idea of what there is. We propose to build that over the new storage area. Club funds, and Carl would give us some type of an estimate as to what a vendor might charge. Any questions on that?
Yes, the club is paying for this, so we really don't need to make a recommendation to the governing board. But if you have any questions of Tom?
Tom, what are you going to use it for? I mean, I know storage, but.
Essentially storage, and
Okay.
the sun beats down on an area like that, and so if there's anything out there that is subject to paint damage or what have you, or if we get rains, rust, but mainly to just protect the items that are out there.
From the sun?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom. Any other questions for him? Okay.
Director Davidson? So is that a approval? Is that a
Since the
positive
club's
recommendation
funding it.
from the Properties Committee?
I don't think we have to make a recommendation if the club's paying for it.
This is why it was brought here today.
Oh, okay,
I move we do that.
all right. Any objection? All right, we'll recommend it to the governing board.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, any committee comments? All right, I think this is our last meeting. I don't see why we need to meet in May or June. All our budget items are done. My suggestion, if you want, I don't know who'll be chair of properties next year. I'm off the governing board in a few months. That dancing on the way out, that if you're interested in applying for this committee or another committee, be sure to go on the governing board page on the website to put in your application, so a new chair can go through all those that are applying. You just can't assume you'll be reappointed.
Roberta, I'll be sending something to everybody.
Yeah. Yes, Karen's going to be sending out information to everybody. And we usually do a survey that's also sent out. So please fill out the survey. So I definitely would like to thank all the members of the committee for serving. I thank staff for all their help, Russ and Carl. We couldn't do it without you or your staff, especially during the tours. And I think it's been a productive year. And I wish everybody the best in the future. So any other comments from the committee?
I just would like to thank you, Roberta, for hanging in there for the last few years. It's been a real joy to serve with you and our other members. Always a lot to learn, always.
All right, do we have any comments from the attendees? Please give us your name and your rec card number.
Mike Cassanda, 112330. Mike Cassanda, 112330. I had a couple comments on club tracks. I looked at our end of the club tracks from the tennis perspective, and our numbers were quite low, and what it appears to me is they're not counting guests and non-club members as part of the amount, and they are obviously part of the total. Club Tracks does not give us as much information as the old system does. And clubs are not getting the numbers. We've not gotten any numbers from anybody since last fall. So we don't get any numbers anymore. I'd like to see that fixed somehow or another. The screens that we used for scanning our cards in, they're not always operative, so then we don't get a count. I don't know, and it might be a day or two before they get fixed. So that affects the numbers also. The old system provided a lot more information than this new system does. This new system talks about club members, and that's, and how many are, used or whatever, but there's a lot of other things that the old system showed, like, who played on what day, and you could figure out how many guests were at each day and everything. But now we don't have any of that on this. It looks like to me.
Yeah, I think most of your comments should be given to the Chartered Clubs Committee because
Okay.
they're dealing with the data for the clubs specifically.
Okay. I just thought I'd also mention, the clubs aren't shown on the matrix either. I mean, there's a lot more clubs in some of them, they're not there. And the clubs that don't have the scanners, I don't know how you're going to get a number out of them, And there's a lot of clubs that don't have scanners. So there's a few bugs to be worked out of this program, I think, yet, just as information.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Hurley.
Good morning. Tim Hurley, 120454, Governing Board President. And on behalf of the governing board, I would just like to thank you for being on the committee. There's several faces here that I remember from even way back when. But serving on committees is really an important part of the governing board process. And again, I want to thank you for the time and effort that you put in to do your job this year. So from the governing board, thanks a lot.
Do we have any other comments? Oh, Carl? Oh, wait.
Roberta, Russ and I thank you for the last 3 years. It's been a pleasure to do all the tours and compile the work, and we got it done, so nice job.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, Dudley Gibson, 121389. Just briefly, I'd like to second what President Hurley just said, and thank you all for what you do. I've been there, done that, served on the board for 3 years back in 2000, served on a half a dozen different committees. I know how much time it takes, and I appreciate that. A lot has changed since I last attended these meetings for a lot of different reasons you don't need to be concerned with. I'm out of date on the process, but I would say that and I'm not a computer nerd, but in trying to follow the activities of the board and the committees, I'm a little outdated on that, but it seems as though IT has made some changes there that is making it easier, and I appreciate that. I tried a month ago to try to get through to board docs to find out what the agendas are, what the issues are, and that type of thing. Took me 2 hours to do it. I'm not the sharpest rock on the block, but it should be easier than that. I think we're going in the right direction. Lastly, I'd like to thank Russ and all of the staff for the work they do. With short staff, that's a problem, I know. So keeping on.
Thank you. There's no further business with the committee. We will adjourn.